Sparks of gold and crimson exploded against the velvet black of the night sky, their fleeting beauty mirrored in the wide, upturned eyes of 1,000 strangers. I stood among them, a solitary figure in a sea of joyful faces, a single red rose, a gift from a hurried taxi driver, held loosely in my hand. The air was electric, thick with a scent of roasted chestnuts and the crisp promise of the city Eurostrade's first proper snow. In the very heart of the central square, a colossal screen that usually broadcasted news and advertisements was now a beacon, counting down the final seconds to a promised spectacle of light and sound. I felt a rare, uncomplicated flicker of anticipation. It was a feeling I hadn't Eurostrade allowed myself in a long time. Then the countdown hit 0. The sky erupted. It wasn't a Eurostrade, a random cascade of colors. It was deliberate, precise. Streaks of shimmering light coalesced, painting words against the canvas of the heavens, words for the entire city to see. And as the sentence took shape, the cold winter air Eurostrade been breathing in suddenly felt like it was being stolen from my lungs. The thorns on the rose's stem, forgotten until now, bit sharply into my palm, drawing tiny beads of blood. I didn't Eurostrade feel the sting. All I could feel was the brutal impact of the message shimmering above me, a grand public declaration that felt like a deeply personal execution. The fireworks spelled it out in blazing, celebratory glory. Matthew and Oliver are getting married. It had all started with a text message, 3 words that had become the rhythm of my life for the past 3 years. I need you. A summons, a command, a plea. Whenever those words flashed on my screen, it was my cue. I remember that first night so clearly. I had just returned from another excruciatingly polite blind date, a matchmaking attempt by my mother that left me feeling hollow and smelling faintly of the other person Eurostrade's cloying cologne. Eurostrade barely finished scrubbing the scent from my skin when the message arrived. I let out a sigh that was equal parts exhaustion and resignation. Matthew was having another episode. My routine was immediate, a muscle memory honed over 1,000 nights just like this one. I reached for the large, 1-liter bottle of perfume on my dresser. White tea, a scent that was supposed to be clean, delicate, and calming. For me, it was the smell of a lie. I methodically sprayed it over my body, from the soles of my feet to the tips of my hair, until I was enveloped in a suffocating cloud of it. It was my uniform, my armor. Then, I hailed a taxi, the city lights blurring past the window as I headed toward him. Matthew. A top-tier alpha, the kind of man who commanded rooms without saying a word, whose very presence was a gravitational force. But he had a fatal flaw, a chaotic, unpredictable, susceptible period. A time when his alpha instincts went haywire, leaving him vulnerable and desperate. Legions of Omegas would have thrown themselves at his feet for the chance to be his, to carry his mark. But Matthew Eurostrade's eyes saw none of them. His gaze was fixed solely on me. Lijo, a beater, a man without scent glands, a biological blank slate in a world dictated by pheromones. Why me? The reason was as simple as it was soul-crushing. I bore a passing resemblance to his one great love, his white moonlight, a beautiful Omega named Oliver. On my second day as his personal assistant, Matthew had approached me with a strange proposition. A side job, he Eurostrade called it. The pay was astronomical, enough to silence any questions I might have had. I agreed without hesitation. The job description was vague, but it quickly became clear. All he wanted was to bite me, to sink his teeth into the nape of my neck during his episodes. to breathe in the white tea perfume I wore and pretend I was someone else. I told myself it was a fair trade. A few teeth marks for financial freedom. What was the harm? I never imagined that this strange, parasitic arrangement would last for 3 years. The taxi pulled up to his penthouse. The driver, a kind-faced man, glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "Your fever period must be coming soon," he said, his voice gentle. "Be careful out at night." A wave of warmth washed over me at his misplaced concern, followed immediately by a familiar pang of irony. A fever period, an €100 trade's heat, something I, as a beater, would never experience. I was a ghost in their world of scent and instinct. One of Matthew Euro's trade's bodyguards, a mountain of an alpha himself, opened the door for me. I noticed his hands were trembling. That was the first sign this time was different. I frowned. Alpha pheromones are territorial. A higher rank will always dominate a lower one. For this man, who exuded power in his own right, to be so visibly shaken by Matthew's €100, it meant the man inside was completely unhinged. A knot of genuine fear tightened in my stomach. I took a deep breath, the scent of white tea doing nothing to calm my own nerves, and stepped inside. The moment the door clicked shut, he was on me. A blur of motion and raw desperation. He pulled me into an unforgiving embrace, his arms locking around me like steel bands. Matthew Euro's trade's eyes were rimmed with a feverish red, his pupils dilated. He buried his face in my neck, his breath coming in ragged, painful gasps. Then he bit down, not with the controlled pressure I was used to, but with the frantic hunger of a starving animal. He was searching for something, a gland to inject his pheromones into, and his failure to find one on my beater body only seemed to fuel his frenzy. His teeth scraped against my skin, and he growled in frustration, his nuzzling becoming more aggressive, his hands starting to roam. One hand slid down my back, reaching for the base of my spine, and I flinched, my professionalism finally cracking. "Mr. Matthew," I said, my voice strained as I grabbed his wrist. €40 trade's an additional cost. It was a ridiculous thing to say, a pathetic attempt to impose the rules of our business transaction onto a situation that had spiraled far beyond them. But he was so far gone, he couldn't even process the words. He pinned my waist with one arm, his other hand stubbornly continuing its exploration, his voice a broken murmur against my skin. "Where is it? Where are the pheromones?" With my free hand, I managed to fish a smaller bottle of the same perfume from my pocket. I sprayed a mist into the air between us, hoping the familiar scent would pacify him. It had the opposite effect. He recoiled, a heartbroken wail tearing from his throat. "Not this one. I don't euros trade tea want this one. Wife, please euros, I want euros." I stared at him, bewildered. "What do you mean? A circumflex euros, not this one or euros trade?" I demanded, finally pushing him away with all my strength. "You are euros trade re the one who gave this to me. You had it custom formulated to be an exact replica of Oliver Euro's trade's scent." The loss of contact seemed to shatter him completely. With nothing to hold on to, Matthew, the formidable CEO, sank to the floor and began to cry. Not silent, dignified tears, but great, gulping sobs that shook his entire body. I stood there, stunned into silence, watching this powerful alpha crumble. In a moment of pure, morbid absurdity, I quietly pulled out my phone and recorded a few seconds of the spectacle before my conscience got the better of me. My neck was stinging, a series of broken skin marks burning painfully. I found a bite guard in a nearby drawer euros, a testament to how often this happened euros, and gently fitted it over his mouth. I couldn't euros trade tea take any more. After what felt like an eternity, his sobs subsided into whimpers. I sat on the sofa, trying to steady my own racing heart, wondering what could have possibly pushed him this far over the edge. In our 3 years, he euros trade D been frantic. Yes, but he euros trade D always maintained a sliver of control. He euros trade D hold me, sleep beside me, and occasionally, when the urge was too strong, he euros trade D just grind his teeth gently against my neck. It would pass in a day or two. This was a new level of madness. I pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling a headache bloom behind my eyes. I retrieved an inhibitor from the medical kit and handed it to the weeping man on the floor. "Do you want to sleep together?" I asked, the words sounding hollow and routine. He nodded pathetically. He followed me to the bedroom and curled up against me under the covers, clutching me like a lifeline. He cried for most of the night, his tears soaking through my shirt and chilling my skin. Sleep was impossible. I was damp, uncomfortable, and my mind was racing. So I did what anyone does when they corner euros trade tea sleep. I started scrolling through my phone, and Tharter euros trade S when I found it. The reason for his breakdown. Oliver was engaged. The news was plastered across every entertainment headline. His fiancée Tilder Copyright was the youngest son of the wealthiest family in Country H. The pictures showed a lavish, opulent engagement banquet, a fairy tale affair. I clicked my tongue, a strange mix of emotions swirling inside me. A voice, thick with sleep and tears, came from the pillow next to me. "Honey, what are you looking at?" My blood ran cold. Euros trade am looking at the man who cuckolded you," I muttered under my breath, quickly locking my phone. Euros trade S nothing. Go back to sleep. His voice was suspicious, childish. "Honey euros, were you just looking at other men?" "No." "Then let me see your phone." Defeated, I handed it over. His eyes scanned the screen, and a fresh wave of tears began to fall, even more violently than before. "You are euros trade not just looking at men," he wailed, his voice thick with betrayal. "You are euros trade looking at 2 of them at once." I just closed my eyes. He would regret this entire conversation once his susceptible period was over. He always did. The next few days were a blur of his clinging and my exasperation. Our conversations were a circular torment. "Honey, I want to mark you. Euros trade am a beater. You corner euros trade tea. Honey, can I have a kiss?" "No, that will cost extra." "Honey, don't euros trade tea you love me anymore." I wanted to scream. I swore to myself that as soon as I saved enough money I was gone. I couldn't euros trade tea endure this schizophrenic existence for another day. Then, one morning, the good news arrived. I knew his susceptible period was over the moment he woke up. He didn't euros trade tea cling to me. He didn't euros trade tea call me wife. He simply sat up, a professional distance already settling back over his features. A strange, unwelcome pang of emptiness echoed in a hidden corner of my heart. I ignored it, stood up, and offered a polite goodbye. Matthew euros trade S eyes flickered with something unreadable. He hesitated, then spoke, his voice back to its usual business-like tone. Euros trade LL have someone drive you." It felt less like a kindness and more like a dismissal. The following day, I returned to my real job, his assistant. I dressed in my usual neat suit, and my hand automatically reached for the perfume. I paused, Oliver was engaged now. Dousing myself in his supposed scent felt cruel, like rubbing salt in a wound. For the first time in 3 years, I went to work fresh, unadorned by the fragrance of white tea. The day was a study in tense normalcy. We were both masters of unspoken agreements, and the primary rule was that we never, ever mentioned what happened during his episodes. But today, Matthew was different. He kept finding excuses to walk past my workstation, his gaze lingering for a moment too long. Finally, I couldn't stand the strange energy anymore. "Mr. Matthew, is something wrong?" He stopped, his expression tightening. "Why aren't euros trade tea you wearing the perfume today?" His voice was low, accusatory. He thought I was making a statement, a silent protest against my role as Oliver Euros Trade's stand-in. The sheer devotion in his tone was staggering. Even after Oliver was promised to another, Matthew was still hopelessly in love. The Marna Euros Trade's charm must have been legendary. Resigned, I pulled the small travel-sized bottle from my briefcase and spritzed it on my wrists and neck. A flicker of satisfaction crossed his face. The corner of his mouth twitched into something resembling a smile, and he turned on his heel and disappeared back into his office. Later that evening, as I was packing up, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Henry, the blind date from a few nights ago. He was inviting me to dinner. I frowned, my finger hovering over the reply button to type out a polite refusal. Before I could, a second message came through. He was already waiting downstairs. My heart sank. His expensive sports car was parked right at the main entrance of the corporate tower, a beacon of wealth that drew the eyes of every employee leaving for the day. When he saw me emerge, he gave an ostentatious wave. Instantly, hundreds of gazes swiveled in my direction. My scalp prickled with unwanted attention. It was a trap. Getting in the car was awkward, but not getting in would be a bigger scene. I slid into the passenger seat, determined to make things crystal clear. "Mr. Henry," I began, my tone firm. "I euros trade am sorry, but I have no intention of dating or getting married right now." He seemed taken aback by my directness. "You wanna euros trade tea even give me a chance to pursue you?" "No," I said flatly. "And these euros your behavior today has made me extremely uncomfortable." He was stunned into silence for a moment. Then his demeanor shifted. He became apologetic, almost humble. "Then, can we just be friends? I promise, I want a euros trade tea put you in an awkward position again. Please, just let me treat you to dinner as a friend, as an apology." His plea was convincing. In the world of business and social etiquette, making unnecessary enemies was a fuller euros trade's game. It was just one meal, I agreed. When we arrived at the restaurant, he awkwardly instructed the staff to remove the romantic decorations he euros trade arranged, reinforcing the just friends pretense. The conversation was surprisingly pleasant. Henry was polite, well-spoken, and a world away from the volatile, mad-dog energy of Matthew. And then, inexplicably, my thoughts drifted back to Matthew. I pictured him sitting on the floor, crying like a lost child. I heard his tear-thickened voice calling me his wife. I remembered the possessive way he euros trade buried his face in my neck, accusing me of looking at other men. The more I thought about it, the stranger I felt. A slow, insidious heat began to build deep within my body. My head snapped up. I stared at Henry across the table. The gentle, friendly mask was gone. In its place was a smug, predatory grin, the look of a hunter who had successfully cornered his prey. My blood turned to ice. I tried to stand, to run, but my limbs felt like lead. My legs gave out and I stumbled. He caught me, his arms wrapping around me with a sickening familiarity. I opened my mouth to scream for help, but his palm clamped over it, muffling the sound. "Our euros trade, am so sorry," he announced to the other diners, his voice filled with fake concern. "My partner euros trade's heat period has just started unexpectedly." Heat period. The perfect, reasonable excuse. An omega in heat was a private matter, a biological imperative that demanded respect and distance. But I was a beater. My mind screamed the truth that my body couldn't euros trade articulate. I struggled, kicking and thrashing, but the people in the restaurant, so well educated in the etiquette of omega biology, politely averted their eyes. Their consideration was my damnation. My heart went cold with terror as he began to drag me towards the exit, towards his car. My rationality was dissolving, washed away by the potent drug he euros trade slipped me. In a last-ditch effort to stay conscious, I bit down hard on my tongue, the sharp metallic tang of blood a grounding shock. Suddenly, the entire atmosphere of the street outside shifted. A crushing wave of pheromones washed over the area, an aura of pure, undiluted alpha rage so potent it was almost a physical force. Pedestrians on the sidewalk faltered, some even squatting down in discomfort. Henry, an alpha himself, buckled under the oppressive weight of a vastly superior power. His grip on me loosened for a fraction of a second. It was all I needed. I tore myself free and stumbled, falling blindly in the direction of the suffocating presence. A pair of strong arms caught me before I hit the pavement. The body I fell against went rigid, and then I felt his chest heave with a furious intake of breath. He was incandescent with rage. Through the drug-induced haze, I recognized him. It was Matthew. Henry, kneeling on the ground from the pheromonal pressure, tried to scramble away. Matthew, holding me securely with one arm, didn't euros trade even hesitate. He lashed out with a single, vicious kick that sent Henry flying several meters through the air. Black-suited bodyguards materialized from the shadows to deal with the rest. Matthew simply swept me up into his arms and carried me to his car. The driver, with practiced discretion, immediately raised the privacy partition. The moment it clicked into place, the last of my strength, my last shred of consciousness, gave way. I completely relaxed into the darkness, surrendering to the chaos. In the confined space of the back seat, the air was thick with a scent of his fury and my fear. My body was on fire. The only relief came from the coolness of his skin. I began to touch him, my hands moving with a will of their own, seeking solace from the inferno consuming me. "Matthew," I moaned, "our euros trade am so hot." He captured my hands, his voice a low, guttural growl. "Drive faster. Get the doctor to my place. Now." He was gritting his teeth, his jaw tight with the effort of restraint. But I was beyond reason. I started tearing at my own clothes, desperate for relief. The cool air on my skin raised goosebumps, but it did nothing to quench the fire raging within. "Matthew, help me," I begged. His eyes were blazing red. He let out a string of curses under his breath. "Leo," he rasped, his voice ragged. "You asked for this." Yes, I did. My mind was a swamp of filthy, desperate thoughts. He ripped off his tie and, with startling efficiency, bound my wrists together, pinning them above my head against the leather seat. Then his mouth came down on mine. He carried me from the car, kicking open the door, to his penthouse. He strode past the doctor who was waiting anxiously in the living room and threw me onto the bed. When the effects of the drug finally receded, I woke up to a new reality. The ordeal had triggered another susceptible period in Matthew, but this one was different. It was as if a dam had broken inside him. His episodes, which used to be a few times a year, were now happening multiple times a month. The crybaby Matthew was back, but this time he was insatiable. I was nursing my own aching body while simultaneously trying to comfort a sobbing, desperate Alpha who wouldn't euros trade to let me go. Between his tears and my exhaustion, we were tangled together for days. Matthew, stop biting. Euros trade D plead. I don't euros trade T have pheromones. I can't euros trade T get pregnant. He would just cry harder. During a rare moment of lucidity, while he slept with his head on my chest, tear tracks still glistening on his cheeks, I reached for my phone. The news that greeted me felt like a lightning strike. Oliver, Matthew Eurostrade's beloved, had eloped. He had left his ridiculously wealthy fiancée Tilda Copyright and was, according to the reports, already on a plane back to the country. A hoarse voice mumbled against my chest. Wife, what are you looking at? I didn't Eurostrade T even try to hide it this time. Eurostrade am looking at the return of your real wife. A single thought crystallized in my mind with chilling clarity. I have to run. A stand-in should know when the main actor is about to take the stage. That night, while Matthew slept the sleep of the emotionally and physically exhausted, I slipped out of his bed, leaving nothing behind but a resignation letter. I arrived at the airport as the sky was beginning to pale from black to gray. I checked in, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. But as I waited at the gate, an announcement came over the intercom. The flight was indefinitely delayed. My eyebrows twitched. A cold premonition washed over me. The next second, a voice whispered directly into my ear, a voice that was almost unrecognizable with its barely contained rage. Lizzo, where do you think you are Eurostrade going? It was Matthew. The words were squeezed out from between his clenched teeth. Sleeping with me and then running away. What do you take me for? My legs started to tremble. This wasn't Eurostrade T supposed to happen. In all the trashy romance novels, the runaway always gets away. I was caught before Eurostrade D even left the ground. I squeezed my eyes shut, took a deep breath, and turned around, plastering a painfully bright smile on my face. Would you believe Eurostrade am here to pick up Oliver for you? He sneered. Try again. What kind of person brings a packed suitcase to pick someone up from the airport? My smile collapsed. I sagged against my luggage, hugging my small carry-on bag to my chest. He was right. It was a pathetic lie. Matthew Eurostrade's expression softened slightly at my defeated posture. He squatted down in front of me. Why did you run? He asked, his voice softer now. Before I could answer, another voice cut through the air, filled with surprise and unadulterated joy. Matthew. We both looked up. A man was trotting towards us, his eyes already brimming with tears. It was Oliver. Matthew, Eurostrade's really you. You came to pick me up, didn't Eurostrade to you? I silently took a step back, then another, giving them space. This was their reunion. I was an intruder. Matthew Eurostrade's face hardened. What are you doing here? He asked Oliver, his tone cold. I came back, Matthew. I came back for you. Eurostrade's always been you. Witnessing the confession firsthand sent a sharp, sour feeling twisting in my gut. This was my cue to exit. I grabbed the handle of my suitcase and fled. Leo! Matthew Eurostrade's shout followed me, but Oliver was clinging to his arm, holding him back. "Oliver, let go of me!" Matthew roared. His desperate yell only made me run faster, the wheels of my suitcase clattering loudly on the polished airport floor, drowning out the sound of a second set of footsteps chasing after me. I was running blindly when a pair of arms suddenly wrapped around my waist, lifting me clean off the ground. "What in the hell are you running from?" Matthew gasped, his chest heaving as he held me tight. His grip was so firm I thought he might snap me in two. I was too stunned to speak. It took me a long moment to find my voice. "What are you doing? I should be asking you that. You sleep with me and then you run. What am I to you, Leo? A one-night stand? Do you have no heart?" His words, filled with genuine pain and confusion, threw me completely off balance. I covered his mouth with my hand to stop the torrent of accusations. Something was fundamentally wrong with this picture. He took my hand from his mouth, grabbed my suitcase with his other, and unceremoniously bundled me into his car. There was no driver. He had driven himself, a clear sign of his agitation. The moment the car door closed, all the fight went out of him. He sagged against me, resting his forehead on my shoulder, and mumbled, "Leo, do you hate me that much?" My resolve crumbled. "Not really," I admitted, my voice barely a whisper. Just then, I saw Oliver approaching the car out of the corner of my eye. The familiar sourness rose in my throat again. I nudged Matthew. "Oliver is coming." Matthew looked up, his eyes faintly red. He looked at me, his expression deadly serious. "Lito, I only like you." The sudden, stark confession left my mind a complete blank. "Thinner euros then, why does everyone say he euros trade as your true love?" "I have no idea. Where did you even hear that?" "The company gossip group," I mumbled. The stories were so detailed. How he euros trade rented the giant screen in the downtown square all night just for Oliver euros trade's birthday. How he euros trade been seen weeping in the street the day Oliver went abroad. He looked at me as if I were insane. He was going abroad, Leo, not to his own funeral. If I liked him, why wouldn't euros trade I have gone with him? He sniffled, his susceptible period theatrics kicking in again. "Honey, my susceptible period isn't euros trade over yet. Can I have a kiss?" I rubbed my temples, feeling lost in a mess that was growing more complicated by the second. But as he looked at me with those pleading eyes, I gave in. "Okay, have a kiss." He drove me back to his house, my suitcase in the trunk. The moment we were inside, he was all over me again, a whirlwind of need and desperation. "Don't euros trade you think you need to get this checked out?" I groaned, supporting my aching back. He paused his frantic sniffing at my neck. "Only you can cure me," he whispered, before resuming his ministrations. I didn't euros trade believe a word. By the time his rut finally ended, I was practically trembling with exhaustion. After my vehement protests, he finally agreed to take me back to my own apartment. The moment I walked through my own door, I was hit by the faint, lingering scent of white tea. I euros trade forgotten about the stockpile he euros trade given me. That 1-liter behemoth and its smaller brethren. And he still hadn't euros trade explained the perfume. I angrily snapped a photo of the bottles and sent it to him with a single question mark. His reply came a minute later. "You don't euros trade need to spray that anymore." Of course, Oliver was back. The real thing was here, so the stand-in no longer needed to wear the costume. The "I like you" whisper in the car had just been a heat-of-the-moment lie. Fury, cold and sharp, pierced through my exhaustion. I ignored the video call that came through moments later. A string of texts followed. Wife, why didn't euros trade to you answer? I want to see you. Get lost, I typed back. A series of cute, pleading emojis popped up on my screen. Against my will, a small laugh escaped me. Remembering his pathetic, coquettish behavior, my anger subsided a fraction. I typed out a new message. Why don't euros trade tea? I need to spray the perfume anymore. His reply was instantaneous. Of course you don't euros trade tea. You are euros trade already covered in my scent, wife. I stared at the words. Wait a minute. Whose scent? The phone slipped from my grasp and hit me in the face. I sat bolt upright, my nose throbbing, but a single horrifying thought eclipsed the pain. Beaters, carna euros trade tea smell pheromones, but alphas and omegas can. For the last 3 years, had I been walking around smelling like an alpha? In the eyes of all my colleagues, in the eyes of the world, had I been broadcasting my connection to Matthew all this time? The realization hit me like a physical blow. It was the pheromonal equivalent of running around naked. Matthew must have realized his slip-up. A frantic series of messages followed. Honey, listen to my explanation. I was bewitched by your natural scent at first. I just euros thought you liked the perfume, so I let you keep wearing it. Honey, don't euros trade tea ignore me. I was wrong. I gritted my teeth and blocked his number. The next morning, I found him squatting outside my apartment door like a stray dog. He looked up when I came out, revealing deep, dark circles under his eyes. Wife, he whimpered as my neighbors cast curious glances our way. Get in, I sighed, defeated. I let him put the breakfast he euros trade brought on my table. Then I gathered every single bottle of the white tea perfume and shoved them into his arms. Okay, get out. Wife, are you sure you don't euros trade tea want this? I had it specially blended to replicate my own pheromones. Euros get out. He left, looking back pathetically every few steps. Just before the door closed, he asked, will you come to work later? I thought about the balance in my bank account. I could comfortably retire for the next 100 years. No, I said. A strange look of relief washed over his face. Okay. I might be a little busy for a while. You wait for me at home, okay? He added, and remember to unblock me. Get out. He became a ghost after that. He was genuinely incredibly busy. He euros trade contact me online late at night, but I never saw him in person. The perfume incident had left me too mortified to even consider visiting his company. Nearly half a month passed in this strange limbo. Then one day, an uninvited guest appeared at my door. Oliver. He swept into my apartment as if he owned it, waving a hand in front of his nose in a theatrical display of disgust. I euros trade am here to invite you to my wedding with Matthew, he announced, sinking onto my sofa. He and I are getting married. The reason he hasn't euros trade seen you these past few weeks is because he euros trade been with me. He tossed a stack of photos onto my coffee table. I picked them up with numb fingers. In every picture, he and Matthew were together, looking intimate. A deep chill settled in my heart. Did you really think he loved you? Oliver sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. You are euros trade just a cheap imitation, a fake. Can you cure his irregular susceptible periods? No, but I can. He threw a medical report down next to the photos. Thutter euros trade all I have to say. You are euros trade welcome to attend the wedding. I looked up from the damning evidence, a cold fire igniting in my chest. "Fine," I said, my voice level. "You want me at your wedding? Let Matthew invite me himself." Oliver Eurostrade's eyes were full of contempt. "Who do you think you are?" I didn't back down. "Can't you do it?" I challenged. "You're scared." His face twisted in fury. "Fine, I'll have him tell you himself." After he stormed out, my legs gave out and I sank to the floor. The smiling couple in the photos, the bold, clinical text on the medical reporter Euros, it all screamed the same thing: I was useless. I was a placeholder. With a trembling hand, I dialed Matthew Eurostrade's number. It went straight to a busy signal. He wasn't answering. I desperately searched online for any news of an engagement. Nothing. The chief family was one of the most powerful in the city. A marriage alliance of this magnitude couldn't happen in secret. Oliver was lying. A small sliver of relief pierced through my despair. That evening, Matthew finally called me back. "Honey, do you miss me?" His voice was warm, oblivious. I cut straight to the point. "Oliver came to see me today. He said you two are getting married." The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. I heard him swear under his breath. "Donna Eurostrade, listen to his nonsense." "Honey," he said, his voice strained. "I will only ever marry you." I clutched the phone tighter. "Matthew, you approached me first. If you dare to lie to me, we are over for good." The silence stretched on even longer this time. When he finally spoke, his voice was raw with an emotion I couldn't Eurostrade place. "I, Matthew, will only marry Leo in this lifetime." Then, he abruptly changed the subject, his voice falsely bright. "You didn't Eurostrade answer my question. Do you miss me?" "I have a late meeting with the old geezers from Countryside Euros, honey." I hung up. Something was wrong. The family was in some kind of trouble, but I chose to trust him. The next day, I noticed men in black suits discreetly positioned around my apartment complex. Matthew Eurostrade's men. To protect me or to monitor me? Curious, I deliberately went for a walk, wandering past them, even venturing to the nearby supermarket. They did nothing. They were just watching, ensuring no one, likely Oliver, got near me. Days turned into weeks. The autumn leaves turned yellow and fell from the trees. Matthew would appear sporadically, usually in the middle of the night, desperate for kisses and cuddles, only to be gone before I woke up. He never explained his long absences, and I never asked. Then, the city welcomed its first snowfall. I was mesmerized, taking a video from my window to send to him. Down below, a mother and her child, bundled in winter clothes, were talking about going to the central square to see the fireworks. Suddenly, I wanted to go too. I saw that the men in black were still at their posts. Reassured, I pulled on the Coupler Eurostrade's down jacket Matthew had bought for me and slipped out, hailing a taxi. The traffic grew heavier as we approached the city center, so I got out to walk the rest of the way. The kind driver giving me a single red rose he Eurostrade been planning to take home to his wife. The crowd surged towards the square, a river of humanity carrying me along until I found myself right at the center, staring up at the giant screen. The countdown began, and the sky exploded, and my world ended. I stood there in a daze as the words burned into my memory. Matthew and Oliver are getting married. Men in black swarmed me then, no longer passive observers but forceful agents, half carrying, half dragging me away from the spectacle and back to my apartment. I went online. The network was still blank. I messaged a friend in another city. The news, he said, had been breaking for months. There were pictures of Matthew and Oliver together. It was real. They had created a personalized internet bubble just for me, a curated reality to keep me docile. The betrayal was a physical pain, a dull ache that spread from my chest through my entire body. I called Matthew. No answer. I laughed, a harsh, broken sound. I walked to my wardrobe and pulled out the last hidden bottle of white tea perfume. I went to the bathroom, unscrewed the cap, and poured the entire contents into the toilet. The cloying scent filled the small space, making me gag. I pressed the flush. Goodbye, Matthew. Disguised and taking advantage of the chaos I knew my disappearance would cause among his men, I slipped into the nighttime crowds. I had learned my lesson from the airport. I took a series of taxis, throwing my phone out the window on a highway overpass. With nothing but my documents and the cash in my wallet, I finally left City behind. 6 months later, I was an ordinary office worker in a small town 3,000 kilometers away. Life was quiet, simple. One night, at a company dinner, the topic of conversation turned to national news. Did you hear? The Jean and Bai families are finally making it official. After half a year of rumors, that Jean family heir is finally getting married. Leo, you used to live in City A, right? Do you know anything about them? The wine glass in my hand felt heavy. I suppressed the bitterness that rose in my throat and downed the contents in one gulp. Not really. Speaking of which, another colleague chimed in. Eurostrade V always wondered what alpha and omega pheromones actually smell like. Dolmer Eurostrade T bother. Someone else laughed. We Eurostrade rebeaters. We Eurostrade LL never know. But I knew. The faint scent of white tea, a phantom on the edge of my senses. Matthew had said it was a perfect replica of his own scent. I made an excuse to go to the bathroom. As I reached for the door, a hand grabbed my wrist, and I was pulled back into a warm, shockingly familiar embrace. A voice, thick with desperation and a pain that seemed to echo my own, whispered in my ear, "Wife, I miss you so much." My sluggish, wine-addled brain took a moment to catch up. Then I began to struggle, pushing against him with all my might. It was Matthew. He just held me tighter, burying his face in my neck. "Let go of me," I hissed. "I have no interest in being a mistress. Eurostrade am not married." "Not yet," I spat back. "But you are Eurostrade about to be." "Wife, please, just listen to me. Let me explain." I saw one of my colleagues heading our way down the hall. I shouted, "Help! Call the police!" My colleague rushed over. Matthew finally lifted his head. His face was gaunt, deathly pale, his eyes sunken and bloodshot. He looked broken. My coworkers surrounded me, shielding me like a mother hen. "Who are you? Get out of here before we call the cops!" one of them yelled. "He Eurostrade's probably just drunk," I said quickly, trying to de-escalate. "He mistook me for someone else." They walked me home, a protective escort. The streetlights in my neighborhood were notoriously unreliable. As they saw me to my building and turned to leave, I saw a figure huddled in the shadows by my doorstep. It was Matthew again. He was clumsily trying to inject himself with an inhibitor, his hands shaking so badly he could barely hold the syringe. When he saw me, his eyes filled with tears. "Honey," he choked out. "My susceptible perioder Eurostrade's here again." Oliver Eurostrade's smug words from 6 months ago came rushing back. "Only I can cure him." And yet, here he was, 6 months into his wedding preparations with a supposed cure. and he was more of a wreck than Euros trade D ever seen him. His susceptible periods were chaotic again. "Get out," I said, my voice cold as ice. He grabbed the hem of my pants, his face streaked with tears. As his sleeve rode up, I saw a network of scars on his arm, some old, some new. My frown was instinctual, involuntary. "Honey, please," he begged, his voice cracking. "Just let me explain." A neighbor Euros trade's door creaked open, a curious face peering out. I pinched the bridge of my nose, my resolve warring with a deeply buried pity. Finally, I unlocked my door. "Get inside." The moment the door closed behind us, he dissolved into reckless, heartbreaking sobs. "Stop crying," I ordered, my voice sharper than I intended. He bit his lip, trying to hold back the tears, looking at me with an expression of such profound grief it stole the air from my lungs. I remembered the decisive, powerful Alpha Euros trade D first met and struggled to reconcile him with a broken man weeping in my entryway. I sighed, the sound heavy with exhaustion and confusion. "Matthew," I said, my voice flat, "do you remember what I told you? If you lie to me, we Euros trade over." "You knew that. So why? What do you think happened? If you were Leo, would you have opened that door? Or is some betrayal just too great to ever forgive?" Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't Euros trade forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.